for it too. One or two.
Hare Krishna. On behalf of Bhaktivedanta Manor, we welcome His Holiness Radhanath Swami. Perhaps in the style of Radha Gopinath Temple, we can give 3 loud Hare Bols in honor of Maharaj. So we're very indebted that he's come to bless us today. My husband and I are personally indebted to Maharaj. He came to our wedding in 1971. And since then, he's very kindly given shelter, given diksha to our daughters. And they feel very happy and guided under his guidance, under his shelter. More recently, he very kindly hosted a whole family at Govardhan Eco Village with great generosity and grace. But besides that, I think the whole Iskcon society is indebted to Maharaj because he's really shown us how to live as a Krishna-conscious devotee with humility, giving the utmost respect to others, encouraging others, guiding others in this humble way. So by his example, we've all learned and benefited. So thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you for coming. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Thira Panachari Jamuna Thira Panachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Thira Banachari Jamuna Thira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayom Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajakacharya Asto Tadasatu Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Iskcon founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayom Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajakacharya Asto Tadasatu Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananti Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Si Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Sri Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mahi Ki Jai Yamuna Mahi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gauda Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yo vidyaya nupahato pita sarda britya. Nidram uvaha jatari kritaloka yatra. Antar jale pikashipu sparshanukulam. Bimor mimalini janasya sukham vivrinvan. Yo vidyaya nupahato pistasada britya. Nidram uvaha jatari kritaloka yatraha. Antar jalehi kashipo sparshanukulam. Bimor mimalini janasya sukham vivrinvan. Yo vidyaya nupahato pitasardhat vidya. Nidram uvaha jatari kritaloka yatra. Antar jalehi kashipo sparshanukulam. Bimor mimalini janasya sukham vivrinvan. Ladies. One, avidyaya, influenced by nescience, anubhata, without being affected, abhi, in spite of, dasha arda, 5, pritya, interaction, nidram, sleep, uvaha, accepted, chatadi, within the abdomen, krita, doing so, lokayatra, maintenance of the different entities, andajale, within the water of devastation, ahikashipu, and the snake bed, sparsha anukulam, happy for the touch, bhima urmi, violent waves, malini, chain of, janasya, of the intelligent person, sukham, happiness, Vrindavan, showing. My Lord, you accept the pleasure of sleeping in the water of devastation, where there are violent waves and you enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to intelligent persons. At that time, all the universal planets are stationed within your abdomen. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada. Persons who cannot think of anything beyond the limit of their own power are like frogs in a well who cannot imagine the length and breadth of the Pacific Ocean. Such people take it as legendary when they hear of the Supreme Lord is lying on his bed within the great ocean of the universe. They are surprised that one can lie down within water and sleep very happily. But a little intelligence can mitigate this foolish astonishment. There are many living entities within the bed of the ocean who also enjoy the material bodily activities of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. In such insignificant living entities can enjoy life within the water. Why can't the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, sleep on the cool body of a serpent and enjoy in the turmoil of violent ocean waves? The distinction of the Lord is that his activities are all transcendental, and he is able to do anything and everything without being deterred by limitations of time and space. He can enjoy his transcendental happiness regardless of material considerations. Om Gyantimidandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurun Milidam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shwapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Judhapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. I am sincerely grateful and honored and feel most blessed and happy to be with all of you this morning at Bhaktivedanta Manor. Srila Prabhupada chose this to be his European headquarters for his mission to his Guru Maharaj in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Vishaka Devi Prabhu, for your most gracious introduction. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. Text 20. In this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma, the senior-most person, the senior-most living being in this entire universe we are living, is surrendering his heart through prayers with realization of his helplessness and total dependence on the mercy and the grace, the empowerment of the Supreme Personality of God. Lord Brahma is born from the lotus flower that has sprouted from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. We read in great details from Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedic literatures how Krishna organizes the creation of the cosmic manifestation. In the spiritual world of Goloka, Krishna first expands his own self with full opulences as Lord Balaram. Lord Balaram, he is sustaining the spiritual world. And just as the Lord expands as Lord Narayan in all the Vaikuntha planets, that same Supreme Person is in the function of the sustainer and the servant of all, is sustaining all the Vaikunthas. When it comes the time of creation, of the manifestation of the material existence, that Balaram, who is Shankarshan, the sustainer of all spiritual worlds, becomes Karanadakshai Vishnu. From his body is manifested the causal ocean. Such a vast ocean beyond our calculations. Expanded from the Lord is his material energy, Maya or Prakriti. And the Lord, through his glance and through his body, he manifests limitless universes, which are like golden eggs. And he impregnates all living entities who are bound by destiny to take birth within material creation. He impregnates material energy with all beings. So powerful is his mere glance. When we stand before Radha and Gokulananda, we do not appreciate Gokulananda is the source of the source of the source of Mahavishnu. And he's glancing at us. The power of his expansion. His glance impregnates all living beings and all universes and all creation. And how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would sometimes say, don't try to seek Krishna, but live in such a way that Krishna is pleased to see you. In Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's that beautiful story. Actually, I'm really not planned my class because I just came on an airplane, so forgive me if I go different places. But in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is described that Lord Chaitanya instructs Nityananda Prabhu, do not come to Puri with all the devotees to meet me every year. You should stay in Bengal and spread the glories of the Harinam Sankirtan movement. Do not consider who is fit or who is unfit. Do not consider a person's past or present. Give everyone the opportunity. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described, who is this Lord Nityananda? He is Balaram. He is the source of Narayan. From Balaram expands Narayana Vaikuntha. Aniruddha Pradyumna Vasudeva and Shankarshan, the predominating deities of all the spiritual world. And from that Shankarshan, Nityananda Prabhu is the Karanadakshaya Vishnu, who simply by his will, limitless universes manifests from his body, and he impregnates all of them in a moment with his glance. Such power. And we read in the scriptures that when Mahavishnu exhales, all of this is happening, creation. And what happens when he inhales? The entire cosmic manifestation come into his body, and Brahma's telling in his abdomen. And everything becomes unmanifested. And as Lord Nityananda, along with Haridas Thakur, who is actually the incarnation of Brahma, the original father, who is the secondary creator of everything within our universe. They're going door to door, shop to shop, begging everyone, whatever their caste, whatever their social background, whatever their piety or impiety, begging everyone. This is the message of Lord Chaitanya. Please accept it. Chant the names of Krishna. Worship Krishna. Worship. Krishna is your wealth. Krishna is your mother. Krishna is your father. Krishna is your life and soul. Some people would accept because they were asking with pure, supreme compassion. Others would reject. Some would ignore them. Some were hostile. You are a thief. You are coming to my house to look to see what is inside, and you will come later to rob me. They would spread this type of misinformation all around, even without social media. Some would threaten violence. Nityananda Prabhu, this all-powerful Lord, would bow down to them, even roll in the dust before them, pleading with them, please take the name of Krishna. I want you to be happy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhakti Vinod Thakur describes he would go with Nityananda Prabhu and his associates, and every morning wake people up. Jeev Jago, Govara Chandra Bole, Kota Nidra Jaya Maya Pisachira Kole. Wake up, sleeping souls. You are sleeping in the lap of Maya. Nityananda Prabhu, he could see even the happiness, the prosperity, the celebrations of living entities forgetful of their eternal natures, a part of Krishna's soul. Forgetting the joy of serving Krishna with love. He felt great sympathy for the tragedy of such so-called happy people. From the highest position to the most miserable condition, everything is miserable because everything is temporary. Dina hina yata chilo harinamu tarilo, tara sakshi jagai madai. When Nityananda Prabhu came across Jagai and Madhai and heard about their violent, intoxicated, sinful lifestyle, he was thinking, they're the most fallen. Let me give them Krishna consciousness. If they become devotees of the Lord and become intoxicated with the holy names and love of Krishna, then how people will recognize and appreciate Lord Chaitanya's gift to the world. And even when Madhai smashed his pot on Nityananda's head with the intent to kill him, Nityananda Prabhu gazed upon him with tears of compassion in his eyes. His head was bleeding. I don't mind what you have done to me, but how you are going to suffer, how you are an illusion, I feel for you. Please take the name of Krishna. What could have Nityananda Prabhu done with the same glance? He can impregnate the entire creation with a moment glance. We read about an expansion of the Lord in Lord Mahadev Shiva with a glance. He could burn everything to ashes. And here is this most cruel person. He's criticizing. And with a hateful and extremely violent those same eyes are glancing upon you with tears of compassion. These are the eyes that empower Mahavishnu's eyes. Parama Karuna Pavandu Jananitai Gorachan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu are supremely merciful, supremely kind, filled with compassion. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who always wanted to be in the presence of Lord Chaitanya serving him, he took this order as his life and soul. And after receiving that order, he only came back to Puri every few years at the most. When he began the Sankirtan movement, and Lord Chaitanya's instruction, he went to Panihati. And there is a beautiful explanation how devotees assembled at the house of Raghava Pandit, and how Nityananda Prabhu glanced upon them. The power of his glance, his own love, his own mercy, his own compassion was manifesting within their hearts. And they began dancing and chanting, and nothing was impossible for them. They had kirtan for over a month without stopping. He glanced at little children during that kirtan. They weren't even devotee children, they were just village children. And they became so infused with his compassionate love. They were crying, and they were dancing. And they'd embrace a tree while they were dancing, and the tree was uprooted. I'm sure those trees went back to God. They were dancing, holding trees, and roaring like lions. And they didn't eat or sleep for 3 months. A single glance of Nityananda Prabhu. And his beloved consort, Janavadevi. It is on the first Gaur Purnima festival in Ketarigram, the place of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. It was Narottam Thakur, Srinivasacharya, and Shyamananda Goswami. With the help of Narottam Das Thakur's cousin, Santosh Datta, and with the blessings of Janavadevi, they invited devotees from all around to have the first festival of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Nityananda Prabhu had already disappeared from this world. But it is described in the Bhakti Ratnakar that at the beginning of the festival, Janavadevi glanced upon Narottam Das Thakur, and with that glance she infused him with such spiritual Shakti of pure love that he sang a kirtan that was so powerful that Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Advaita, Srivas, and all the Vaishnavas who had disappeared from this world time before, they all appeared again to reciprocate with the kirtan of Narottam Das Thakur and the devotees. So back to this verse. This Karunodakshayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu, after creating all of these universes, he expands into each one as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. And there, in the Garbhodak ocean, lying on Anantashesha, this enormous, supremely merciful, transcendental serpent, just by his mere will, he's resting. A lotus flower sprouts. And all the 14 worlds are within the stem of this lotus flower. And there, Brahma takes birth. The Garbhodak ocean, Brahma's explaining a little in this verse. Very, very powerful waves, and it was endless. Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Oceans, Indian Oceans, Arabian Seas, these are like little droplets compared to the Garbhodak Ocean. What to speak of the Karna Ocean. And there was nothing else around. Brahma just saw he's sitting on a lotus petal. And all around is this expanding ocean. He didn't know who he was. He didn't know what he was supposed to do. Obviously, he didn't know where he was. So he climbed down to try to find out. And when he saw those waves, and nothing but water, turbulent water, he climbed back up and sat down. And he heard the words tapa and began to perform meditation. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared. He completely took shelter. And not only spoke to Brahma how to create and gave him all the power to do so, but spoke to him the very purpose of creation. And after each day of Brahma, when it's time for him to rest, the cosmic, when he wakes up again, it's the same type of situation. And he's offering prayers to the Lord. This material creation is so miserable. Everyone's trying to be happy. Anandamayo Bhyashat. The very basis of life is seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. But yet, everyone and anyone from the highest planet down to the lowest, all their sufferings and all their pleasures are just temporary manifestations under the influence of time. All pleasures culminate in loss and suffering. Death is inevitable for everything and everyone except the soul. Sometimes devotees, when we take to Krishna consciousness, we have faith in a higher happiness. And we're expecting to really live a happy life. Because after all, we're chanting the holy names of the Supreme Controller of all controllers. So why do so many reversals come upon me? Why so many struggles? Actually, devotee or not devotee, struggles and sufferings are inevitable on the bodily and mental platform. The gift of Krishna consciousness is not that these things don't happen. The gift of Krishna consciousness is whether they're happening or not happening, or whenever or wherever they may be. We understand we're the eternal soul, and we understand our eternal relationship with Krishna, and we take shelter with that understanding. And that's actually what it means to be transcendental. Paradukkha dukhi. A devotee is one who feels the happiness of others and feels the pains of others. And there's so much pain in the material world. How could a devotee be happy if that devotee is feeling the pains of everyone in this world? That sounds like a really miserable life. We can suffer immeasurably just by feeling the pain of one person. What to speak of everyone? Yet one who understands the nature of the eternal soul and the potential in everyone as part and parcel servants of Krishna, and being an instrument of Krishna and Guru's grace in this world. Even in suffering the pains of others, there's infinitely greater happiness than enjoying the temporary things of this world. When an enlightened devotee suffers, that's ecstatic happiness compared to those who are just fulfilling all their material and emotional desires in this world. The source of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is Mahavishnu. In Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, he came as Sri Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya was crying. Upon seeing the sufferings of the people in this world. And he could see past, present, and future. Actually, Advaita Acharya could see each and every one of us right here today, with all our struggles. What to speak of everyone else in London and England, the entire planet. Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel, hypocrisy. So much fighting, so much egoism, so much hypocrisy. He could see it all. And yet, he was crying, feeling our pains, and praying for Krishna to personally and directly descend to the world to get people to chant the holy names and take shelter of Krishna and receive love for Krishna. And Advaitacharya, he was living in Shantipur, sometimes Navadvip at that time. And his closest friend was Haridas Thakur, who was chanting his 300,000 names every day. Praying to Krishna to come, to show compassion to the suffering souls of this world. Advaitacharya was, by Lord Chaitanya's arrangement, the leader of the whole Brahmin community. Haridas Thakur, who was Lord Brahma, the ultimate Brahman within this world, he appeared in a family of outcasts. By social designation, he was of the lowest birth. Advaita was of the highest birth. But yet, both of them, their only goal of life was to be eternal servants of Krishna. And serve Krishna by spreading Krishna's compassion through Harinam Sankirtan. So with that higher understanding, they became the very, very best of friends. Unity and diversity. Advaitacharya lived in a very nice house. He was married. He had 6 children. Haridas Thakur lived in a cave. He was a brahmachari. And it was the unity of the two of them that called Krishna to come as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Most munificent, most merciful, most magnanimous of all incarnations ever. So we have like Mahavishnu and Lord Brahma in the same Sankirtan party. Living, and actually Haridas Thakur would regularly come to Advaita's house for lunch prasad. And they would have kirtan. Rupa Vilas Prabhu wrote that glorious book on the life of Srila Haridas Thakur. And actually Rupa Vilas Prabhu, everywhere I go, in any country in the world, if I look at a devotee's bookshelf, they always have your book there. It's actually one of the most popular books. The Glories of Thakur Haridas. So Lord Brahma is feeling this dilemma. He's not thinking, oh, I'm Brahma, everybody's junior to me. Actually, Brahma's happiest when he's Haridas Thakur, where everyone's senior to him. But he's offering this prayer at the beginning of creation, that in this material world, everyone has to suffer. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. It's very serious. We get distracted by little promises of pleasure or little pleasures or little success. But he's saying it all, he's seeing it all culminates in misery. Old age, disease, death, not only of ourselves, of everyone that is dear to us. So Brahma's praying, why do I have to create a place like this? Brahma's feeling compassion and love for everyone. He's our father, great-great-grandfather. But he's making a situation we're destined to suffer. Why? And it's revealed to him that it's part of a master plan to facilitate the opportunity for those who have chose to be separated from Krishna, to go through the whole system of material existence, so by our own free will, we have the opportunity, Sharanagati, to take shelter of Krishna. And when Krishna describes the process of pure bhakti to Brahma in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's the four nutshell verses that are expanded. We find in Brahma Samhita, he's teaching us the nature of the world and the nature of Krishna, the supreme, highest revelation of the absolute truth. So in this way, Hiranyagarbha, Brahma, he becomes the father and creator of everything that we perceive within this universe. And then that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he expands again with such love, such mercy, Suhradam Sarva Bhutanam, the supreme, most well-wishing friend of every living being. That Lord comes within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. And he also expands as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Within each universe there's an ocean of milk, and he lies there on his Anantashesha. Karanadakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of the entire cosmic manifestation. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of every universe. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul within the heart of every living being. Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells, I'm the source of all spiritual and all material worlds. Everything emanates from me. And why? In this simple verse, Krishna describes, the wise who know this perfectly worship me and serve me with all their hearts. In this purport, Srila Prabhupada is describing how Lord how Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he's happily sleeping. At a certain time, he's happily sleeping on the bed of a massive serpent within the ocean of devastation. We have been discussing the creation. Then by the will of the Lord, everything's devastated on the material level. And we cannot even imagine this ocean of devastation. And yet the Lord is peacefully sleeping. Lord Brahma is, in his prayers to the Lord and in his instructions to all of us, opening the window by which we could truly appreciate who is Krishna. When we have this knowledge, and when by association of devotion and cultivation through our sadhana and our life of service, more and more when we come before the deities of Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda, the infinite sweetness of Krishna playing upon his flute is the source of all the powers of the Absolute Truth. When we see a tiny little fragmental particle of Krishna's opulence in a perverted way in this world, we have a tendency to be really impressed and astonished. But who is Krishna? In Vrindavan, there is a very worshipped temple called Sheshashayi Vishnu. Has anyone been there? Please raise hand if you have been to Sheshashayi Vishnu temple. It's near Koshi. And the story is Srimati Radharani and gopis, they heard the story of Krishna laying on Ananta Shesha in an ocean of milk. And they desired to see this form of the Lord. So Krishna, who was with Sri Radha and gopis, by his will, this pond of water became an ocean of milk. And emerging from this ocean of milk came a magnificent, all beautiful serpent, Ananta Shesha. And Krishna with his cowherd stick and his flute, he was looking on. And he entered into the water, or the milk, I'm sorry. There were so many lotus flowers growing in the milk. And happily laid on the bed of Ananta Shesha in this ocean of milk. And Srimati Radharani, upon seeing Krishna fulfilling her desire in this way and manifesting in this form, she just wanted to serve. She didn't just look and see, she wanted to serve. So she entered into the milk ocean and came to Lord Sheshashayi and began to massage his lotus feet. Padasevanam, serving his feet. And in this way she was fully satisfied, rendering service, and Krishna was fully satisfied, fulfilling her desire. Krishna's great-grandson, Vajranabh, in honor of this wonderful pastime in the very place that it eternally happens, he established a Sheshashayi Vishnu deity. Very beautiful deity. And it is interesting because in nearby Koshi, in the early 1930s, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he was leading Braj Mandala Parikrama with a large group of his followers and disciples and pilgrims. And they were going to various places. And for several days they were stationed in Koshi. And Srila Prabhupada was living in what used to be at that time Allahabad. Now it is Prayagraj. He was living there, he was Grihastha. He was a very prominent person in Allahabad. But he traveled by train and came to Koshi to be with his Guru Maharaj. And his Guru Maharaj would speak for very long durations of time. He would give lectures. And one day, it was announced that the parikrama was going to visit the Sheshashayi Vishnu temple. So everyone, please come. And at the same time, for those who want to stay back, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada will be giving lecture. So almost everyone went to Sheshashayi Vishnu temple because it's very rare and it's very historical. But Srila Prabhupada was thinking, let me stay back to hear my Guru Maharaj speak. And Srila Prabhupada said that Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada spoke such high language and such high explanations of teachings. Srila Prabhupada said, often I didn't understand, but I just liked to hear. And in one lecture, Srila Prabhupada said, staying to hear was my hobby. And just after this, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada came to Prayag, to Allahabad, where Srila Prabhupada was living. Can I speak a little background of this? In 1922, Srila Prabhupada first met his Guru Maharaj. I was given this instruction to take Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings to the whole world in the English language. This was Srila Prabhupada was married in 1918, and he just had a child when he received this instruction at the first meeting of his Guru Maharaj at Ultadunga Junction Road in Calcutta. And he said, it was at that moment on that rooftop that I accepted him as my Guru Maharaj, as my eternal master and father. And Srila Prabhupada said, in spirit, that was his initiation then. But officially, he wasn't initiated until about 11 years later. Because in 1923, he left Calcutta to go to Allahabad to establish a pharmacy. And although everybody called it Allahabad at that time, from the time of the Mughal Empire, the time of the British, but Srila Prabhupada named his pharmacy the Prayag Pharmacy. So he lived there from 1923. And in 1928, about 5 years later, some disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to Prayag to start a center. I believe there was a Kumbh Mela that year. And actually I was just there. And by Krishna's grace, and you could all go and see if, I don't know, maybe many of you have, the exact place where the Prayag Pharmacy, the same building, is still there. And the place where Srila Prabhupada served us. They started a little center. And then Srila Prabhupada went to Koshi and met his Guru Maharaj. And in 1933, his Guru Maharaj came back to Prayag to inaugurate a new temple. And when he came, there was an initiation. And one of the devotees there introduced Abai at the time to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Recommended him for initiation. And Srila Prabhupada tells the story, his Guru Maharaj said, yes, I will give him initiation. He likes to hear, he does not go away. So it was there at Prayag that Srila Prabhupada received both first and second initiations from his Guru Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada lived in Prayag for, I think, 11 or 12 years. Then moved to Mumbai and helped to start a center for his Guru Maharaj there. How many Magh Melas and Kumbh Melas did Srila Prabhupada attend? Prayag was the place Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami for 10 days. And it was from Prayag that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami to go to Vrindavan and compile these great literatures, excavate the holy places, and be the example that will be the very foundation of our whole sampradaya. So this year, there was a Mahakumbha Mela, and I was told how many people came this year. The day I arrived there, on Mona Amavasya, The government statistic was on that day, 90 million people came. How many people live in the UK? Does anyone know? 75 million people live in UK. On this one day, 90 million people came to bathe in the same confluence between Yamuna, Ganga, Saraswati. And you may think it's an exaggeration, but I was there. And by my own observation and experience, was not an exaggeration. You could see it, you could feel it. And during the month of the Kumbh Mela, I believe there was about 200 to 300 million people came. And of course, the nectar from the churning of the ocean of milk especially emerges at the time of these Mahakumbha Mela. But even more than that, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the nectar of the ocean of bhakti, of love for Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested that and empowered Rupa Goswami to give it to the whole world. Such a place of nectar. The confluence of Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. The confluence of Lord Chaitanya and Rupa Goswami giving the instructions, which is the basis of our whole sampradaya. At that same time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Sripad Vallabhacharya, two of the greatest Vaishnava sampradayas were coming together at that place. Lord Ramchandra, he bathed there and called it Prayagraj, the king of all holy. Tirtharaj, he called it the king of all holy places. But as far as nectar emerging, what's even sweeter for us is that's the place that that our beloved Srila Prabhupada took initiation and met with his Guru Maharaj. Such a confluence. And it was based on that confluence that Krishna consciousness flooded to the world. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami tells that previously in Prayag, Ganga and Yamuna and Saraswati never flooded the city. But when Lord Chaitanya came to me and was performing Harinam Sankirtan, Rupa Goswami came at that time to meet him, and he witnessed that the whole Prayag was completely flooded with ecstatic love for Krishna through the flood of Harinam Sankirtan. And our beloved Srila Prabhupada, his mission was to flood it throughout the world, flood the world with this. During Lord Chaitanya's pastimes in Jagannath Puri, there was the Rath Yatra. And after Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra were placed in the Gundicha temple, Lord Chaitanya and his associates, I believe 9 days, they were performing kirtan in the different places around Gundicha and having darshans there. And close by there is Indrajumana Sarovar, wonderful lake. And in that lake, devotees were so overwhelmed with the sweetness of loving relationship invoked through kirtan that they were playing like children and splashing each other. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami describes various devotees who were teamed against each other to splash. And one was Ramananda Rai and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Lord Chaitanya told Gopinath Acharya, you should tell them that Ramananda Rai was a governor of an entire state. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the very senior elderly scholar of all scholars. Tell them they are very grave, elevated personalities. Why are they playing like children? Laughing and splashing. He was enjoying seeing these Vaishnava relationships among all the devotees. And at that moment, Advaitacharya, how grave is he? He was like Lord Chaitanya's grandfather in age. Advaitacharya laid in Indrajumana Sarovar on his back and floated in the water. And actually took the mood of Anantashesha. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happily made Advaitacharya his bed. He laid on his body and floated in the water. Is there any questions? Rupa Vilas Prabhu, would you like to share anything? Yes, please.
If we would like to have Diksha from you, what's the procedure?
I'm just trying to be a servant of a servant of a servant. The leaders here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, so please discuss with my masters. Maharaj, would you like to speak something? Is there a microphone for Maharaj?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj, for such a wonderful class. And I found it very interesting, Maharaj, how you centered so much of your class around Nityananda Prabhu, Mahavishnu, and how he embodies this mood of deep compassion and kindness and generosity. Maharaj, could you share with us something about how the tendency in our life is to always be very absorbed in ourselves, our plans, our problems, and how do we really develop this mood that Nityananda Prabhu has of really being able to go beyond our own lives and deeply think about others, not just because it's a duty, not just because it's a service, but because we deeply feel this, the pain of others, like you were mentioning, paradukkha dukhi. So this deep spirit of Nityananda Prabhu, of compassion and generosity, could you share with us how that can manifest in a very real way in our lives?
Maharaj, you know it better than me. Hearing from our holy scriptures, from the mouths of those devotees who are sincerely capturing this essence of Krishna's service. Within Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many examples. Practically every pastime has these stories of people who are striving for and living by pure devotional service. Ahaitaki apratihata. And Mahajano yenagata sapanta. The path of perfection is to follow in the footsteps of those souls. By hearing about them, we're actually living with them. Transcendental sound vibration when we hear of Krishna's associates, the acharyas of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. We are actually in the presence. Hearing is very important. When Srila Prabhupada emphasized the importance of regularly reading his books and discussing these subjects, it wasn't just to learn how to be scholars. If we could do that, that's wonderful. We could serve with that. But most importantly, the knowledge, the values, the inspiration for pure unalloyed devotion comes when we are in the association of people who have those values. By associating with advanced devotees, devotees who are sincerely aspiring to make advancement, and to hear the glories of devotional service in that association. That becomes our goal. That becomes the most important thing in our life. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would say that devotees, even where they are today, they are beyond liberation. Now, mukti is a very, we may philosophically minimize it, compared to bhakti. But what is mukti? It's to be liberated from all the mind and the senses and the ego, and to enter into Krishna's own bodily rays. The Brahma Jyoti. It's not just peace. You know, when we talk about peace in this world, it means somehow or other we're relaxed. Our hearts are content. And we're not fighting or disturbed. And in this world, that's really a lot. You know, people, even after striving and being victorious and successful and triumphant, they just want some peace because it's so disturbing. But what is the peace of Brahmananda? But yet, the happiness of that is not even a drop compared to the ocean of the happiness in feeling the love of the personality of Godhead Krishna, of experiencing Krishna's all-attractive form and qualities, and of giving our entire soul's energy for the pleasure of Krishna. So actually, a person who is in that state of mukti is in a condition of just that peace of existing in the rays of Krishna's body. There's not the desire for unalloyed, pure devotional service. But each and every one of us, even in our conditioned state, where we have to suffer bodily pains and we have to suffer mental pains, and there's so many betrayals and so many disappointments, and we're thinking, how is this beyond liberation? Did you ever think that way? How is my condition beyond liberation? It actually is beyond liberation. Because this is our goal is ahoitakiya pratihata bhakti, unmotivated, unconditional love for Krishna. Following in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan really begins by everything belongs to Krishna. I belong to Krishna, and everything is for Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada would describe when the gopis would decorate themselves because Krishna will enjoy. The gopis would be happy because that made Krishna happy. Everything was for Krishna. Little Prahlad Maharaj, even when he was being thrown into pits of snakes and all the other tortures he was subject to, he was always remembering Krishna in a way, Krishna, how can I serve you? So through these Vaishnava literatures, coming through the parampara of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this verse, Natanamna janamna sundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmaneshwari bhavatat bhakti rohoitakitvari. It's to recite and offer this prayer with a sincere heart is actually to aspire for that which is beyond liberation. I do not want wealth. sensual pleasures, fame, scholarship, supernatural powers. I do not even want liberation from suffering. I just want to serve you, my Lord, birth after birth, unconditionally. To have that aspiration and the Paramatma Krishna in our heart is actually reciprocating with our aspirations. And the character of the life in which we are aspiring for that aspiration, even with our shortcomings. Krishna is more pleased even with a sincere, stumbling devotee who's striving to be the servant of those who love Krishna. More than the greatest, most self-controlled yogis. So yeah, just desiring that pure devotion is beyond liberation. Because in liberation you don't aspire for that. And in the path to liberation you don't aspire to it. So even in our beginning stages, if we sincerely adhere to this value, it's such a rare, invaluable treasure that we've received and that we have. So by hearing the glories of pure devotional service and trying to serve those who are aspiring or who have achieved the values of pure devotional service. Through our sadhana, through our lifestyle, through our prayer, through our smaranam, our shravana. That's how even in this world of trouble and challenge, we actually can realize the repeated message of our acharyas in our scriptures is no one can attain pure devotional service. When Krishna is pleased, he gives it. So our goal in life is simply to please Krishna, and then whenever he so wishes, he will give. Let me just live to please Krishna in whatever circumstance may be. In life and death, let me just try to please Krishna. Does that address your question? As I said, you know better than me. Is there any ladies have questions?
Sometimes unknowingly we do Vaishnava Prad and suddenly it takes for Sorry, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for coming and sharing the wisdom with us. Thank you so much. Sometimes we unknowingly commit Vaishnava Prad and we start losing the taste for bhakti and we don't really realize whom we've offended. How do we rectify that?
If we unknowingly perform Vaishnava Aparad, Krishna will easily forgive us. But when we knowingly commit Vaishnava Aparad, then it becomes very serious. Vaishnava aparadha is very much detrimental to our spiritual progress when it's caused by envy, arrogance, when it's through our words or our actions we're actually trying to hurt a devotee, to cause pain to a devotee, or to belittle a devotee. So if you accidentally touch a devotee with your feet, you just, when you recognize you've done it, you accept forgiveness. But the process of Vaishnava aparadha is to understand really how there's nothing that pains Krishna more than Vaishnava aparadha. There's nothing that gives more happiness to Krishna than honoring his devotees. And there's nothing that gives him more pain than offending his devotees, hurting his devotees. And our whole life, 100% of all spiritual advancement is based on one thing: how we please Krishna. All the external achievements, all of the external aspirations we have, their value is only to the extent that they please Krishna. Samsiddhi Radhitoshana. So if we knowingly understand we've offended Vaishnava, we should sincerely ask forgiveness. And we should sincerely learn a lesson not to do that. And we should sincerely take shelter not only of the mercy of those devotees, but also of the holy names of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke. It is in Chaitanya Bhagavat that when your mouth tastes the name of Krishna, it's like drinking nectar. And when the same mouth offends a devotee, criticizes a devotee, and Lord Chaitanya actually says criticizes anyone with bad intent. He said it's like drinking poison. So we should very intentionally not take that poison. And instead we should speak the glories of those who Krishna loves, his devotees. And we should chant his holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, And in this context of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, anyone who follows this simple teaching, I will bring them back home, back to God. Srila Prabhupada signed every letter, your ever well-wisher. What does it mean to be a servant of Srila Prabhupada, or a servant of Srila Prabhupada? In a very simple way, it means to assist Srila Prabhupada in being everyone's well-wisher. Does that answer your question? Yes.
Maharaj, on those lines, if we are in a setting of a family, how do we understand the situation where our parents are devotees children are devotees, and it's on daily basis. There are times when we are committing offenses, but then how do we understand?
In many ways, bhakti is easier as a brahmachari or sannyasi. But our intent and our austerity should be to keep Krishna in the center in our families, and to try to forgive each other and elevate each other, and ultimately to help each other to be happy in Krishna consciousness. That's how we make spiritual advancement in Grihastha ashram. Help each other to get a taste for Vaishnava association, Vaishnava seva, hearing about Krishna and chanting Krishna's name. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananti Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj ki jai.